I've been on the internet for long enough to know that the internet's first reaction to anything, its default setting, is to hate it. Negativity is the internet's bread and butter. It doesn't matter what the topic is. It could be a game, movie, show, song, person, or, as I'm talking about now, a character. Characters are obviously a pretty important part of basically anything. They're the way that the story moves along. So having good characters is pretty well needed for any piece of entertainment. However, again, the internet will never be happy. So we do, in fact, have a lot of characters people despise. But surprisingly, there's a lot of characters people despise that I don't mind very much. In fact, when thinking of this video, I was surprised how many characters I thought of that fall into this category. In fact, every character shown so far in the background is someone I actually like. These are the characters that I like despite the majority of the internet not liking them. The keyword is, of course, majority. I know there's bound to be someone else who likes these characters. Even the most despised characters have their fans, even the most loved characters have their detractors. These are just 10 that I feel like get the negative reputation that I don't think is really deserved. Nothing else to say here, really. Let's defend some non-existent entities, because that's what my life has come to.
Baby boy, baby.
Okay, so the first two characters on this list are weird. They're not hated in the normal sense, but I feel like they're not liked enough to allow me to put them on this list. This one is weird because they're beloved by their main core fan base, but hated by people outside of that fan base. It sounds weird, but the second I reveal who it is, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Bandana D is a precious baby and I love him. If you ask any Kirby fan, they'll tell you the same thing. He's cute, he's fun to play as, he's even got a fun arc if you look into it. There's absolutely no reason to hate Bandana D, unless you are a Smash fan. Smash fans despise this precious gift from God, and I just don't get it. The only reason they ever give to why he's bad is, of course, he's just a Goomba with a hat. First off, he's not play a Kirby game, but even if he was, by that logic, Smash shouldn't have Piranha Plant, Yoshi, Inkling, Rob, every single Pokemon. This sentiment was pretty popular for a long time, but it really exploded when Game Explain made a video about it. This was the second in their series analyzing if characters should be in Smash, and they said no to Bandana D because he's a hack Goomba. Their first episode was on Captain Toad, and they said yes. How are these two any different? Bandana D is just a good boy, don't hate my precious son. He's lower on the list because, well, again, he's mostly beloved, but I had to mention a Kirby character because that's how I whirl.
Ghosts!
Okay, so like the last entry, this one isn't that hated. He's just kind of overlooked, I feel like that's a better word for this character. Like when you talk about this series, no one really mentions this character despite him being, personally, my favorite in the entire show. He's non-existent. He's basically a ghost. I feel alone in my love for High Five Ghost from regular show. As beloved a regular show is, I never hear anyone talk about Fives other than just saying he's there. I think people are missing the point of Fives. He's the straight man in the group, specifically the muscle man since he's with him for most of the show. Despite that, he's still fun. The jokes I make with him being a ghost I feel like are still funny. He doesn't get a lot of spotlight episodes despite being a main character, with only 3 main highlight episodes, 2 which extend on him and Muscle Man's relationship, which I love because it gives more dimensions to both of these two and their relationship. And then there's episode Postcard. I'm probably in the minority here, but I consider Postcard to be one of the best episodes in the series. It's just a nice little love story between Fives and Celia, his then girlfriend, and I just adore it. I have a soft spot for love stories, and it's just a really cute introduction to Celia as a character and a focus on Fives. Fives and Celia never really got a focus episode after this, but they do have some appearances here and there, and it's just sweet, and I love it, and it's really nice considering how bad Mordecai's relationship go in the show. I could go on for like an hour, but I think I made my point. Fives is just a fun dude. He's the type of character I just get happy to see whenever he appears. I have this weird thing where I just really like random, unimportant side characters, and Fives is one of them. I will admit the show does him very dirty. He's the only character where they had him make new clips for the flashbacks in episode Exit 9B, and in general, his unique ghost abilities are kind of underutilized, but when he's used well, he is in my opinion the best part of the show. With that being said, while I can't find the quote, apparently there was a statement from the creator and the voice of Fives that the reason he doesn't get very many focus episodes is because he's the only one in the entire show who has his life together, and again I can't find it, but it's hilarious, I definitely want it to be true. One thing I don't get though is how he and Celia have a kid in the finale. Their kid is part ghost. How does that work? Is he part dead? Is Fives dead? How does he even like have a child? He doesn't have the right equipment, and you know, it just doesn't work. I demand to see High Five Ghost's penis. I gotta put that in the video. Ruh-roh. This next character is... Listen, I'm just trying to be positive in this video because I'm trying to defend these characters, but just play the clip. I don't think there's a more universally hated character than Scrappy Doo. The name of the trope for a character who's despised by the fanbase is literally called the Scrappy. I'm fighting a losing battle here. To be fair, I was once a sane man who hated Scrappy-Doo like the rest of the world. But then I decided to watch the first live-action Scooby-Doo movie because, you know, I lost control of my life. In it, Scrappy was made the villain, and that upset me. I didn't like how uncharacteristic of him it was, but that made me think, why should I care what they do with Scrappy-Doo? I don't like him, right? Well, I went back to Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo, his first appearance, and I thought he was funny. I feel like I somehow caused the apocalypse. But it's true. I enjoyed his whole trying hard to be the hero things, but being way over his head. If you don't like that side of him, it's toned down a lot of other Scooby-Doo series where he's made a lot less overall obnoxious. I have to give Scooby-Doo writers some credit. They did try to improve the guy, at least for a time. He's basically turned into Punchline nowadays, which honestly I still think is super funny. I know there's a lot of articles and videos on the subject, but Scrappy actually helped save Scooby-Doo as a franchise. Is that a good thing? No, but screw it. I'll give him this. Because what else does he have? So yeah, I like Scrappy. Please forgive me. Did I mention the fact that I have a chicken? Moana is a weird film when it comes to the internet. I love it. There's a lot of others who love it. There's also a fair amount of people who don't really seem on board with this movie. Yeah, because it takes place on a boat, I'm sorry. That seems to be mostly because of the overplayed music or not liking the story though. Everyone seems like the characters. Moana is one of the most popular Disney purchases, probably has a lot of meme appeal, and Tamatoa. I don't need to elaborate on that one. The rest of the characters seem pretty well liked as well, besides one. Hey Hey is hated mostly because people find him to be a one-trick pony or chicken. He just screams. That's it. He doesn't know. One of the best jokes in the film is that he just misses the chicken food Maui gives him, and another is him freaking out on the ship. The movie knows when he's needed or not, since they do realize his whole being an idiot thing has gone too far. This is the one time I will say no to chicken nuggets. Nobody beats the hammer. I remember back in the day, the MCU fanbase had a mindset that if a villain wasn't Loki, they suck. It was broken finally by a lot of the newer villains like Ega, Hela, and Thanos, but I feel like that left a lot being unfairly judged. Ultron and Zemo are good examples of villains I actually like that people looked over, but they are getting a well-deserved second look after the Disney Plus shows. Ronin, though, seems to always be stuck as one of the MCU's weakest villains, and I disagree. Guardians of the Galaxy was first and foremost a comedy. It's got more to it, obviously, but it's primarily about humor. Ronin is a good counter to that. He's big, he's threatening, he's powerful, it's really all you need. Yes, you could argue that he could be, you know, funny, because, again, Guardians. But I feel like having a more comedic villain would kind of undermine the threat of Ronin, and later down the line, Thanos. Could you really see Thanos working with some kind of dumb meme lord? I mean, nowadays, yes, but back in 2014, probably not. The Guardians started with some hating each other. They needed a real threat to team up against. Also, the dance-off at the end was the best part of the film, don't at me, and it would not work well if Ronin was more openly comedic. Also, he's in Captain Marvel. All the others stand. I can't think of a better stander in the universe.
Giant enemy crab.
Pokemon seems to have a trend every generation. There's always a one Pokemon that's just universally despised. Every gen has one. Jinx, Unknown, Lovedust, Burmy, Stunfisk, Aromatisse, Crabominable, Greedent. You wouldn't catch people dead liking these guys. And I agree. Except I like Crabominable. I get why people don't like him. People thought Crabrawler was an awesome design and they kind of throw out his old bossing motif he has. But hey, kitties are cool. I will not apologize for that pun. People think Crabominable is ugly and okay, yeah, he is. But I think he's got the whole, like, ugly cute thing, like a pug. I mean, again, he's got a Bombadil in his name. You think he's gonna be the next Eevee? The reason he has the bruised eye is because, again, he's a boxer. It makes sense. I used one in Moon, and it was a very crucial part of my team, aided by its very unique type combination. Yes, it's certainly weird, but it has a nice design in my opinion. Stop being so crappy. I need to stop making puns, because I want to die. We all got swords! What is the worst existence you can think of? Being stuck in a volcano, stuck inside of a whale, being forced to watch Chicken Little for the rest of your life. Well, how about being forced to be a sword for all of your existence? Wouldn't that suck? Wouldn't that turn you into an emotionless robot? That's the essence of Fee from Zelda. People seem to hate her because she constantly interrupts the player, and I get that. But I like her in spite of that, not because of it. I like the idea of Master Sword having a spirit. And while she's not as good as, say, Midna, for example, I like her because of the lore she adds to Zelda. And she's pretty fun to play as in Hyrule Warriors. And I like that they built off of her more in Breath of the Wild. I'm glad they expanded on her more instead of just burying her like a lot of other hated characters. Now, don't get me wrong, females are hilarious. But she's supposed to be robotic. And honestly, after a bit, her interruptions has never really bothered me. Also, I should have mentioned this earlier, but I don't know if her name is pronounced Fee or Fi. I've been calling her Fee because I know that it will distract people who are just going to comment how I wrongly mispronounced, instead of yelling at me for liking these characters. I am the biggest brain.
We don't serve minors. Dig, nabbit.
You know, I kind of regret some of these choices. Can we like start over this video? Can we like go back? Can we reset this? Oh Jesus Christ! When you think of Animal Crossing, most people think of Isabelle or Tom Nook. For me, Resetti will always be my favorite character from it. Resetti's job in the game is to maintain the timeline from resets, and will yell at you if you either reset or quit without saving. People don't like him because he yells, but like, that's kind of the point of his entire existence. His purpose is to make sure you don't reset the game. Animal Crossing is a game that requires you to play every day, so of course they'll punish you for freaking up the timeline. I have encountered Resetti a couple times, usually when I lose power before saving, and whenever I encounter him, he's pretty chill. You get what you get with Resetti. He can be pretty cool if you're honest with him. You can sometimes see him in the Reset Center, and he's pretty down to earth. I'd go to the bar with this small dude. Resetti was pretty poorly received. I mean, duh, he's on this list. But he's like super hated. There are reports of children being scared by him. That's what you get for not saving, you stop those little fricks. But he got so bad that in New Leaf, he's completely optional. And in New Horizons, he's barely even a thing. He's just a voiceover for the helicopter service. Even a year in, he wasn't put in physically. F in the chat for a fallen hero.
It's spherical!
Seasonal rot is something every single fan of a TV show fears. It's a double-edged sword. You could either have your favorite show end, or you wish it would end. But death just never comes. Or maybe it does. What I'm trying to say is, hey, have you realized that Fairy Godparents started not being good? I'm sure you never realized that Fairy Godparents started to suddenly suck. I'm sure you have not seen 1 million videos go into detail that this show for kids suddenly became unbearable. You could argue when it happened. Some say it's continuing after Channel Chasers. Some more optimistic people say it's much later when Sparky or Satan were added. But some people point to the first character introduced, Poof. I like Poof. Was he a marketing stunt? Yes, 100%, undoubtedly. But after his introduction, he's pretty fine. They work with a magic baby pretty nicely. Timmy gets to act more like an adult since he's basically co-raising a child, which works since that's kind of what the whole show has an undertone of growing up and whatnot. And it opens up a lot of good jokes too. I'm not going to say he's the greatest character ever made or anything. In fact, out of these 10, he's probably my least favorite. But unlike these 8, a lot of people blame the downfall of his show squarely on him. Poof is a fine character. He's just run by not the best rating at the time, I'll be honest. And even when the show is not best, it's not Poof's fault. He's a baby. Why you gotta hate a baby?
Yes!
Waluigi. I legit don't know if he's the most loved Mario character or the most hated one. Mello. This is gonna sound weird, but he's in the same boat as Poof. People blame him for the reason that the second half of Death Note isn't that good, but I really don't think he's that bad, nor do I think Mello is that bad. Big the Cat. I thought he was funny in his first couple appearances. I like the whole character type of gentle giant, and Big just being a kind-hearted yet idiotic cat person. Didn't make the list because they kind of turned him into punchline after heroes, and I'm the biggest fan of that. Unless Scrappy would actually make a joke, it's just, hey guys, remember Big the Cat? He's bad. Haha, laugh. Someone does this a lot where they're just like, hey, remember when we did a bad thing? It's a good thing we never did a bad thing ever again. Mater. He was great in the first film. He was the heart of it. Then Cars 2 was Cars 2. I can't defend Cars 2. 3 improved him a bit, but the damage was already done. Onion. I like that they made him intentionally weird. He's a fun background character when he just randomly appears. Even when he gets his own episodes, I still enjoy him. I just see him as kind of a nice kid who has trouble expressing himself. Eustace from Courage. Unlike the rest of the characters, he's supposed to be hated, so I understand why people don't like him, but I don't know, I like him. He's entertaining despite being a garbage human being. He always gets his comeuppance at the end, so it's not that hard to watch. And finally, probably the weirdest character I've ever made honorable mention, the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. This is a really weird pick. I don't know, I thought the Spinosaurus was cool. This is the first time I saw a Spinosaurus. This is the first time I heard of its existence. And I just thought it was like the coolest freaking thing I ever seen. People don't like it because it killed the T-Rex, but like, it's not the same T-Rex. This is a weird pick because it's a freaking dinosaur, but like, screw it. On number 1.
I am a figment of your imagination.
I imagine it's 3 videos in a row by now, but for the longest time, my favorite Cartoon Network show was Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. It's been dethroned a couple times over now, but it still holds a special place in my heart. A big part of that is the characters. No 2 characters in the show are even remotely similar. And I'm sure if you ask 100 different people who their favorite character from the show is, they'll all give you different answers. Or they will all say Frankie. The internet really likes Frankie. Not all the characters are beloved though. Cheese people find super annoying, but I feel like they use him well. The creators know that he can be annoying, and they use him sparingly. Even episodes where he's in focus, he isn't like the main character or anything. Then there's Bendy. Bendy can eat a bag of dicks. The only good thing I say about him is that he only appears once in the entire series. It's not like he's the main character or anything. Could you imagine if the main character of this show was this unsufferable? Well, for some, they can. Beauregard Q Kazoo is pretty hated among everyone. Like Poof, I've seen so many people say he was so annoying like he ruins the entire show. But unlike Poof, who's a side character in the later seasons, Blue is the main character who appears in every single episode. He's a brat who demands everything be focused around him. But that's only half of him. If you actually watch the show, it's quite clear that he does in fact care for his friends. Throughout the show, he constantly helps out everyone he can, specifically Mac, who is basically a cooler older brother too, which is needed since his actual brother is a massive dong. Yes, he can be selfish, bratty, and overall childish, but newsflash, he's literally the amalgamation of a child's thoughts. Of course he's gonna act like a kid. He is one! He's a freaking personification of one! Most of the imaginary friends stay the way they were when they were first created. Why would Blue be any different? Despite that though, he does actually get some development. So he's more open about liking his friends and not being so uptight, especially seen in the finale. Blue reminds me a lot of all characters, Daffy Duck. Loud, obnoxious, self-centered, but at the end of the day, still pretty fun to hang around with and still has a heart underneath their 50 layers of sass. Foster's has a lot of hidden depths, and honestly, since I already covered my favorite Nick and Disney shows when I was a kid, maybe I'll complete the trilogy and make a video on Foster's Home. I don't know. No one seems to ever talk about the show outside of Bendy being the devil and being horny on main for Frankie. Maybe I'll give it and Blue the love and attention they deserve. Also, he's voiced by Keith Ferguson, who is a Chad, and every character he voices are Chads, so Blue, by extension, is a Chad. I don't make the rules, I just enforce them. So, did I manage to change any of your guys' opinions on these said characters? Are there any characters that you like that everyone else hates? Will my parents ever love me? I don't know. Bye!